Hey guys, I'm in this fantastic temple at Lepakshi in India, and I'm going to show you some solid evidence of giants this time. Did giants exist a long time ago? And if they did they build these incredible structures at Lepakshi? Even though archaeologists argue that this temple was built just 500 years ago, locals are convinced that this temple was built much earlier by gods of giant stature. Of course, there is this huge footprint in this temple which could belong to a giant that stood around 25 to 35 feet, but we will get to this in a minute. The best evidence is not this footprint found inside the temple. It is this giant bull carved 500 meters outside the temple of Lepakshi. The town of Lepakshi has the largest carving of the Indian bull or Nandhi in the world. Made out of a single rock, this bull is exquisitely carved and stands nearly 15 feet tall and 27 feet long. Archaeologists say this bull was created just 500 years ago. But there is something very strange about this bull. It stands alone. According to sacred Indian architecture, every bull must be associated with a lingam and vice versa. Ancient Indian texts confirm that the bull must be carved in front of a lingam, but as you can see, there is no lingam in front of it. Why would ancient builders carve the world's largest bull and forget to put a lingam, which is the main god? Why did they create this brilliant monolithic carving and leave it alone? Archaeologists don't have the answer to this question, but locals do. The lingam associated with this bull is found 500 meters away inside the temple walls. This gigantic lingam stands nearly 12 feet tall and is protected by a seven-headed reptilian god known as Naga. This type of lingam is called Nagalingam, and what you're seeing is the largest Nagalingam in the world. And if you look around this lingam, you'll see something interesting. There is no bull in front of it. So, what is the purpose of carving a bull in front of a lingam? I've always argued that every sculpture in Indian temples was made for a specific reason. So, how was the bull used? Ancient Vedic texts mention a way of worshipping the lingam, which is forgotten today. The ancient people put two fingers on the horns of the Nandhi and viewed the lingam through it. Hindus strictly followed this routine until the last few centuries. This was the actual purpose of the bull. If you climb onto this huge bull and look through these two horns, you can see the gigantic lingam even today. Of course, this not only confirms that this bull belongs to this lingam, but something much more astounding. Whoever created these carvings must have been tall enough to view the lingam through these horns. Since the bull is 15 feet high, the ancient builders must have been around 30 feet tall. Today, if you view through the horns, you will only see half the lingam because the temple walls prevent you from seeing the rest of it. Why would the ancient builders create a wall and a temple leaving the bull outside? The lingam and the bull were built by a race of giants, but the newer temple, which is what we see today, was built in the last 500 years. If you compare these two figures with the rest of the features, we can see a striking difference. The original builders used a monolithic architecture. Both these structures are not only bigger than everything else, the lingam and the bull were also made out of single rocks. The new architecture is quite different. Let's look at these walls. Huge slabs were cut and were interlocked, similar to Machu Picchu in Peru. Don't get me wrong, this is also extraordinary technology. It is extremely difficult to fit these blocks together. Look at the corners. But this was created just 500 years ago. The temple as we see it today was built by assembling blocks of stone, but the original temple that existed here used single stone architecture. If we calculate the area of the original temple using the distance between the bull and the lingam, it would stretch for many miles, making it the largest temple in India. What happened to the rest of the structures of this temple? Locals claim a huge flood happened many thousand years ago, which wiped out the rest of the structures of this original temple. The only features left out were this bull, the lingam, and this giant footprint. The giant footprint was completely faded when the water receded. However, to remember the past and to make sure that it does not get corroded away, sculptors carved on top of the original footprint. So locals admit to carving on the footprint but insist that it existed in the first place. Now, India is the only country which has still preserved its ancient religion and monuments. Ancient Indian history, now known as mythology, is still read by millions of people. But the most important piece of history comes from locals. Local history gets passed on from generation to generation orally, and this man is not just another local, he's the official tour guide of Lepakshi temple. Watch what he says about the gods Sita and Krishna who lived in previous eras.
Measurement 2.5 feet.
2.5 feet.
2.5 feet it long. At that time, Sita's height 25 feet height. Sita's height 25
Sita's height was 25.
That is small lady in that time. Sita is a very small lady. Chota. Ante appatlo all people in that time 28, 30 ala unnaru. Sita is a very small 25.
Sita was 25 feet
25,
high,
that
and
is
that
small.
was
That is Treta Yuga.
smaller.
That is Treta Yuga. Next Dwaparayugam. Dwaparayugam understand?
Yeah,
Krishna period.
Yeah.
That time all people 15 feet.
15 feet.
15 feet.
Oh.
Different. Those days all people 8 feet height.
Oh,
500 years back all people 8 feet.
500 years back, everybody's 8
Everybody
feet.
7.5, 8.
As you can see, he not only mentions gods who stood 25 feet and 15 feet in different eras, but also states that the builders of the new temple were also 8 feet tall. If this is true, why don't we find skeletons of giants? We find skeletons of 100 feet dinosaurs, and we find a new one every week. So why don't we find these giant skeletons of ancient builders? But that's not an accurate question. The accurate question is, do we really not find these skeletons? Or is this information suppressed by secret societies like the Illuminati to prevent us from learning the truth? Here is some evidence.
Oh,
Different. Those days all people 8 feet height.
oh,
500 years back all people 8 feet.
500 years back, everybody's 8
Everybody
feet.
7.5, 8.
We do have plenty of newspaper clips about giants who stood 8 feet tall. Until the last 50 years, even archaeologists admitted to finding these giant skeletons all over the world. Now, is it possible that they were merely finding ordinary human beings who were just suffering from gigantism? After all, even today we have these giants who stand 7 to 9 feet tall. But the evidence of prehistoric giants gets better.
Next Dwaparayugam. Dwaparayugam understand?
Yeah,
Krishna period.
Yeah.
That time all people 15 feet.
15 feet.
15 feet.
We have actual evidence of giants who stood more than just 9 feet tall. The giant of Castleknoll was 11.5 feet tall, and we have actual photographs showing that the arm bone of this giant is nearly twice as thick as our human bone. In this picture, you can see that the human bone in the center looks half as thick as the giant's bone on both the sides. This is not a newspaper clip, by the way. it was published in a science magazine called La Nature in 1890. This science magazine is still popular today in France and is published under a different name. In reality, we have plenty of evidence of giants who stood 15 feet tall as well. However, the biggest evidence of giants was unearthed in India itself. How about this piece of news showing a 32 feet giant unearthed in India?
25 feet height, Sita's height. 25
Sita's height was 25.
That is small lady in that time. Sita is a very small lady. Chota. అంటే అప్పట్లో all people in that time 28-30 అలా ఉన్నారు.
Published in more than a dozen different newspapers around the world, the footprint size would accurately match a giant of this size. I have talked about this news in detail in another video. Believe it or not, there are thousands of newspaper clips all over the world which show giant skeletons, but somehow the general public is brainwashed by the New World Order into thinking they are all hoaxes. So, what do you think? Did giants build these huge structures at Lepakshi Temple? Or are all these evidences the world's largest bull, largest Nagalingam, and the largest footprint just hoaxes to fool us? Is there some truth to what the locals are telling us? Or are they lying to us? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm Praveen Mohan. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.